Hi guys, so today we'll be covering the school admin panel. So this is the website, the main school website that comes with the system. These features and information, it's all customizable, all this info. This is the entire website. And this is the admission form. With the student information, name, surname, and all the info that is right here. This is all customizable. So you can add these boxes to upload files, pictures, or just a text box for extra info. These can be added in the school panel by the school admin. And this is the parent information. And once all the info is added, just click on submit and the application form will be received by the school. And the school can handle all applications via the panel. So let's log in. Insert your information here, then log in. So this is the dashboard with the total number of teachers being 6, students, guardians, classes, learning areas, and these are the overall expenses that cover salaries, inventory, or any extra expenses such as uh, maybe petrol for the school bus. Everything will be covered here. And these are the leaves for the staff members and the teachers. They'll all appear here. You can separate by these filters here. Then we have attendance. You can view attendance per grade. You can also download the attendance as a SVG, PNG, or a CSV file for that particular grade. And then we have announcements. Then we have exam results. Then we have overdue fees. For the overdue fees, how it works is all the students here have overdue fees. So by clicking on by marking the student like this and submitting, this means these marked students will be inactivated and they will no longer be able to access the apps, the school information via the apps. So their login details will no longer work until the overdue fees are paid. And to inactivate, you can just inactivate via the student details by checking the inactive students. We'll get to that. For now, let's just finish covering this. This is the birthday, holiday, student gender. And then we have the languages. So these are all the 11 official languages. So for example, you can click on any language to change the panel language and it changes instantly. as you can see here. Then we can just change back to English. And this is where you can edit your info, profile, change password, and sign out. So today we'll cover academic management, academic calendar. Yeah, I believe this is what we'll cover for today. So let's get to academic management. Under academics, we have Medium. Medium being the teaching language. So the teaching language is under Medium. And these are the teaching languages. So to add a teaching language, you can just add any teaching language here, the name, and then press submit, and it'll all appear right here. Then we have the section. For the section, this is when you have, this is very useful for FET phase. For example, you have grade 10A, grade 10B, and grade 10C and D in some schools. So you can just insert the letter here and just press submit. Then we have subject. So for subject, to create a subject, you can choose the teaching language, which is under Medium. Say English, then add the name of the subject here. And then is it theory or practical? Then you add the subject code, and then you add the color. So with the color, it's very useful because this is how you get to separate the subjects. All the subjects will be separated by the color. There you go. So per subject, each subject will have its own dedicated color. This is very useful for timetable creation when you're creating the timetables. That's how you can choose your color. Then you can also, you need to also insert an image. It could be anything. Maybe this is English. You can write English here. There you go. And then the code being that. And then we can just insert an image here, maybe an image written in English. This is very useful for the apps, for when the student is picking the subject, it will have the image attached to it. And this is what you get. For example, this is what I was talking about. So this is the image. These are the colors. Then you have the subject here, subject code, the color, the teaching language, and then you have the image. This is the type, which is theory, obviously. Then you can click here to edit, can either delete as well. Then we have terms or semesters. So for the term, you can just insert here the name of the term. For example, as we did here, term 1, term 2, all the way to term 4. These dates aren't accurate, so you need to ensure that you insert accurate dates. And this is the current term that we're on. Start date, end date. Then click on submit. Then there's learning areas. So for learning areas, this is for FET phase. For example, we have sciences, commerce, and this will be humanitarians. So if you'd like to add more learning areas, you can just do so here, then click on submit, and it will appear here. Then we have shift. So for shift, this is for schools that have different learning shifts, the morning shift and the afternoon shift. As you can see here, morning shift starts at 6:45, ends at 2 p.m. Then the afternoon shift starts at 3 p.m., ends at 6 p.m. So if your school only has the morning shift, you can just add morning shift here, just one morning shift, and that's all. Then we have class. So for the class, this is where you create the class. Say grade 7, teaching language for the class, English. Then the shift is optional. You can choose morning, afternoon. Learning area as well is also optional. And then we have section, which is also optional. Then click on submit. And this is what we'll have right here. You can edit and delete as well. So these are the classes. These are all the classes that we have. And then we have class subject. We can choose to separate by teaching language. So these are the class subjects. For example, this is how we add class subjects for grade 11. You can add a compulsory subject. These are obviously subjects that they will need to do. They don't have a choice to select between. So let's say math, English. So obviously here for the compulsory subject for math, if you have pure maths and maths lit for the grade 11s, these mathematics here will fall under the selective subjects. But for the subjects such as English, these fall under compulsory subjects. So if there's any compulsory subject, it will also fall under this field right here. You can just click here to add more. And then we have selective. So these are basically options between 2 or more subjects. So let's say Afrikaans and Zulu. So that means the student can pick between Afrikaans and Zulu. And if you like to add another option, you can just do so here and then add another option here. And yeah, and add. So here, this is the total selectable subject. It's always 1. It cannot be 2 or more. So if it's 3, you can pick 2. But if it's only, say, 2, just like this, they have to pick 1. So it can't be 2. So you can add more. For example, we added 4. So that means they can pick 3 and leave out 1. And to add more, you can just click here and add more options and then click on submit. And this is what you will get. Let's check one grade rather that already has subjects. This is how it will appear here, and these are just examples of what you get. Yeah, so we move on to school phase. So these are the school phases which are already created here: the foundation phase, intermediate, senior phase, FET. So to create a phase, you give it a name here, FET, then write a description for the FET, then add an image, then the class, which classes fall under FET, or any other school phase that you are adding. Then you click on submit. So these images will appear on your website, as we saw when we're going through the website, and the names as well as the description and the classes. You can edit or delete. Then we have class section and teachers. So these are the classes. This is where you get to assign the subject teachers and the class teachers. So for 12B, we can say the class teacher is Jack Adams. And then we don't have any subjects for 12B, so let's pick a grade that has subjects. Let's say here's 1. So all the subjects will be here and the teachers will be here. So you get to pick which teacher is the subject teacher for that subject. You can have 2 or more teachers per subject. Perhaps they interchange, and it will all appear like this. So for term 2, you also need to assign the subjects to the teacher, as well as term 3 and term 4. So for term 1, this is it, with the class teacher as well. And all the information can be exported. These are the exporting options, depending on what you are exporting. As you can see, we have JSON, XML, CSV, text file, SQL, MS Excel. So this is it for academics. Then we move on to students. Student admission. The GR number is automatically created here. Then we have class section. You can pick your class section, session year, admission date, and the status. Do you choose to activate the student or leave the student under inactive for now? This is the student information. Add the information. It's just as it appears on the website application form. Then submit, and you would have submitted the students and this is where all the inquiries from the website will appear. They'll appear here, and you can just manage everything under action. You can separate by grade, and the student details will be available here. You can also choose to separate by grade, and these are all the students under grade 2. Along with the guardian details. So these students are all active. As you can see, they're under active. So if there's any inactive students, for example, if you would have inactivated the students with outstanding fees, those students will be found here. And once their fees are paid, you can choose to activate them under action. And once they're activated, they can now log in to the applications and they'll be moved back to the active side. And if there are any students as well that you love to inactivate, you can just mark those students and then click inactive. And now those students are all moved to the inactive side. And from here, you can choose to activate the student or to permanently delete the student. So let's activate. And now the student is back on the active side. This is the add students in bulk section. This is where you'll be able to add students in bulk. So what you first do, you have a session year, you've got to pick your class, and then you download the dummy file. After downloading the dummy file, you then upload it. You then rather convert the dummy file. You first download the dummy file, then convert the dummy file to a CSV. So when the dummy file is downloaded, it will be downloaded as an Excel file, so you can edit. Then once the edits are done, you can then convert to a CSV file and upload it here. And if you'd love to send out emails so parents can receive the email with the login details, with their login details as well as the student login details, you can just mark this. So that means each and every student and parent that is on the file will receive an email with the login details. Then click on submit, and that's it. Then we have the guardian information. So these are the guardians. You can obviously separate by grade or class section. These are all the available guardians. And this is where you get to assign roll numbers. So most of the students, rather all the students that apply online, they usually do not have roll numbers assigned to them. So once you approve a student that is applied online, you would need to assign a roll number. So how you do it, you first pick your class section, and then you pick the order, first name and or last name, and then the order here, ascending or descending, and then just click on submit. Then once you click on submit, the students without roll numbers will be assigned roll numbers. Then we have profile images. So these students have profile images, most of them do. For those that don't, you can just choose a file here, upload the student's profile image. This is necessary, especially when it comes to creating the student ID cards and certificates. So the certificates and the ID cards will automatically be generated with the student images here. So no need to be printing extra papers and images and stapling images on student cards no more. All student cards come with already preloaded images that were uploaded via the system. And these are the guardians. You can also upload images for the guardians. And this is where you get to assign selective subjects for students that haven't yet picked any subjects. So for example, let's say grade 2. So these students haven't yet picked, there's no subject assigned to them. So this is what you do. Pick here the group. Which subject do they choose? Say Afrikaans. And now they have an assigned subject. You can also choose to separate by the already assigned subject, say like this, and there you have it. Or by status, not assigned, so they aren't students that aren't assigned. Complete, these are the students, and there you have it. Then we move to transfer and promote student. This is where you get to transfer students from one class to the other and promote the students as well. So to transfer, say grade 2, transfer to class 3. So then you mark the student that you're trying to transfer and then click on submit. Now that student no longer is under grade 2 but is in class 3. Then this is where you promote students after the end of year examinations. Promote session 2027, promoted grade 4. And these are all the students in grade 3. And if they failed, you can just put fail. If they passed, you can just leave it on pass. And this is whether the student is still active in the school. So if they're still active, we can just leave this as active. If they have left the school and they're inactive, we can just put it here. So this student will is no longer active in the school. So under the student details, they won't be available under the active section, but rather they'll be available on the inactive section. And from that inactive section, you can choose to permanently delete the student. And this is the student reset password. So for any student that is logged out of their app, this is where you get to reset the password. When they are logged out, they get to click on forgot password and they request that their school admin resets the password for them. So all requests will be here. And so the default login details for the student will be, let's go right here quick. Will be the GR number and their date of birth as the password. So this doesn't change, all the information doesn't change except for the password. So since that the default password is their date of birth, that means if they do change their password and they are logged out of the app and they request a password reset, once you approve the reset, it will be reset back to the original default password, which is their date of birth. So they'll need to insert their date of birth. Then they can update the password once they're in once again. And this is teachers. This is where we get to add the teachers, the email, first name, last name, gender, and the rest of the information, qualification, salary, and active. Are they active, or you want to leave them under inactive? And this is the allowance. Perhaps they're involved in extra curricular activities, which they do get paid for, and you can add that right here. Or deductions. Perhaps there's school transport provided for the teachers. So for example, bus fee, which is 500 Rand. That means if the teacher earns, say, 7,000 Rand, 500 Rand will be deducted monthly for their bus fee. And instead of getting 7,000, they'll get 6,500 Rand. And you can just click on submit, and the teachers will appear here with their information. And from here, you can choose to edit, view the teacher's timetable, inactivate the student's salary structure, or delete the student, the teacher rather. And here, this is where we get to add the teachers in bulk. You first download the dummy file, then do as you did for the students, convert it to a CSV file and then upload. And then if you'd love the teachers to receive login information via their emails, click on send emails and then submit. And there you have it. So that's it for academic management. Then now we move on to academic calendar. Timetable. This is where we create the timetable. This is the school. These are the school hours, the start time and the end time, and the duration of the lessons, time slot duration. So each lesson is an hour long, so 60 minutes. So if you'd like to edit this, you can just do it, say 45, and then click on generate. So everything will be updated. And then you can choose to separate by teaching language. So for all the timetables, once you've created the subjects under academic management, you can then create a timetable right here. So most of these grades currently don't have timetables because this is a demo profile. So let's go to the grade that do have that does have a time, that does have subjects to be added as timetable. So this is it. As you can see right here. So these are still under the old 1 hour timetable slot. So if you add a new, as you can see here, the time has changed from 8 to 8:45, 9:30, then you have 10:15, then you have 11, 11:45, then 12:30. So once you do update the time slot per subject, you also will need to update the timetable here, because once it's like this, it creates conflict, because as you can see here, it's written 8, so this is when the subject lesson starts, and this is when the subject lesson ends, and this is when this one starts, this is when this one ends. So for example, if you were to add another subject here, let's say we add this one here. So this one will be set to 45 minutes instead of 1 hour, like the rest of the other already set subjects here. So this will need to be updated as well. Then we have teacher timetable. So for every teacher, this is where their timetables will be set. As you can see for Sposiso, this is his timetable. And to view it, you can just click here. And this is his timetable right here. This is the newly added subject that we just added. So that's it for the timetable. Then we go to attendance. This is where we get to view attendance, separate by subject, by grade rather, and then click on date. Let's pick a later date for when students were marked. And this is the timetable right here, the attendance rather per grade on that particular date. And you can also separate by the status, present. These are all present students on that day. Absent. These are all absent students on that day. So once again, you can choose to refresh. You can add more details to it. If you would like to see the student IDs, click on that, and there you have it. So now you have the ID number, and all this other stuff. So you can just choose to leave it as it is, just like this. You can also choose to download. And this is month-wise. This is where you get to view the attendance month-wise per month. And this is it right here, all the way from the 1st to the 28th. So we move on to holiday list. To create your holiday, write your date, choose your date here, for example, then you write your title, and you can choose to also insert your description right here. And these are the added holidays. These dates aren't accurate, obviously, and you can choose to separate by month. Say April. These are the holidays in April. You can choose to edit or delete. So this concludes part 1 of the tutorial, and you need to watch part 2 for the rest of the tutorials. So that's it for this one.